Greetings, fellow time travelers. Welcome back to Secrets of the Ancients, where we uncover the hidden mysteries of lost civilizations and dive deep into the secrets that shaped our world. I'm your archaeological guide, ready to take you on another mind-bending journey through the Stall wonder algebra called that Salgridsraum, Ebal the nuts and Astown next down me. Today, we're about to unlock one of history's greatest enigmas, a mystery that has baffled the world's most brilliant archaeologists for over 2,000 years. The story we're about to tell involves passion, power, romance, and a secret so profound that it has remained buried beneath the Egyptian sands for millennia. Before we unveil these incredible secrets, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss the ancient mysteries we're about to reveal. Let's begin our journey. Picture this scene with me. The year is 30 BC. Alexandria, the jewel of the ancient world, stands at the edge of catastrophe. Inside her royal palace, the last true pharaoh of Egypt makes a fateful decision that will echo through eternity. But here's the mystery that has haunted historians for centuries. Where did she choose to spend her eternal rest? The queen I'm talking about is none other than Cleopatra VII, arguably the most fascinating woman who ever lived. Her intelligence threatened the mighty Roman Empire. Her beauty captivated the two most powerful men in the ancient world. Her courage changed the course of history. But the greatest mystery of all, the location of her final resting place. What we've discovered recently will absolutely blow your mind. Archaeological breakthroughs from 2022 have brought us closer than ever to solving this ancient puzzle. Are you ready to dive deep into this incredible investigation? Let's travel back through time to the year 69 BC. In the magnificent city of Alexandria, a child is born into the legendary Ptolemaic dynasty. Her name is Cleopatra Philopator. But this is no ordinary princess. This child is destined to become the most powerful woman in the ancient world. Here's what makes Cleopatra absolutely extraordinary. Unlike her Greek ancestors who ruled Egypt for 300 years, young Cleopatra did something revolutionary. She learned to speak Egyptian. Not only that, she mastered 9 languages total. Think about that for a moment. 9 languages. She was a mathematical genius, a brilliant politician, and a master strategist. The Romans weren't just impressed by her beauty. They were genuinely terrified of her intelligence. At just 18 years old, Cleopatra ascended to the throne of Egypt. According to tradition, she had to marry her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. But Cleopatra had bigger plans. She didn't just want to share power. She wanted to rule alone and restore Egypt to its former glory. And here's where our story gets really interesting. Now, pay close attention to this next part because it reads like the greatest romance novel ever written, except it's all true. Enter Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in Rome, perhaps the most powerful man in the entire world at that time. When Caesar arrived in Alexandria in 48 BC, he was 52 years old. Cleopatra was just 21. But what happened next shocked the ancient world. According to historical accounts, Cleopatra had herself rolled up in a carpet and smuggled into Caesar's chambers. Imagine the courage that took. This wasn't just a romantic gesture. It was a brilliant political move. She knew she needed Rome's support to maintain her throne, and she was determined to get it. Their alliance produced more than just political benefits. 9 months later, Cleopatra gave birth to a son, Ptolemy Caesar, whom everyone called Caesarion. This child represented the union of Rome's greatest general and Egypt's most powerful queen. For a brief moment, it seemed like Cleopatra's dream of creating a new dynasty might actually come true. But then, tragedy struck. In 44 BC, Julius Caesar was assassinated in Rome. Cleopatra's world was shattered. Or was it? Here's where our story takes another incredible turn. After Caesar's death, a power struggle erupted in Rome. 3 men emerged as the most powerful: Octavian, who was Caesar's adopted heir, Lepidus, and a charismatic general named Mark Antony. When Mark Antony summoned Cleopatra to meet him in 41 BC, she arrived in a golden barge with purple sails, dressed as the goddess Isis. Ancient sources tell us the perfume from her ship could be smelled from miles away. Talk about making an entrance. Mark Antony was completely captivated, But this wasn't just about romance. Cleopatra and Antony formed a political and military alliance that threatened to reshape the entire ancient world. Together, they had 3 children twins named Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene, and a younger son named Ptolemy Philadelphus. For nearly a decade, Cleopatra and Mark Antony ruled the eastern Mediterranean like king and queen. They threw lavish parties, distributed kingdoms to their children, and declared themselves the reincarnation of ancient gods. They were unstoppable, or so it seemed. But fellow time travelers, as we know, all great stories have a moment of dramatic crisis, and for Cleopatra and Mark Antony, that moment came on September 2nd, 31 BC, at a place called Actium. The Battle of Actium was more than just a military engagement in Machar engagement. It was a clash of civilizations. On one side stood Octavian, representing traditional Roman values and discipline. On the other side stood Cleopatra and Mark Antony, representing a new vision of East meets West, a fusion of Greek, Egyptian, and Roman cultures. The battle took place on the Ionian Sea, off the western coast of Greece. Historical accounts tell us it was a massive naval confrontation involving hundreds of ships. But here's what recent historical analysis has revealed. The battle might not have been lost through military defeat alone. According to some historians, Cleopatra may have made a strategic decision to withdraw her ships midway through the battle, perhaps seeing that victory was impossible. Mark Antony, seeing Cleopatra's fleet departing, followed her. This decision sealed their fate. After their defeat, Cleopatra and Mark Antony retreated to Alexandria. They knew Octavian would soon arrive with his army. They knew their dreams of ruling together were over. They knew the end was near. And here's where our story becomes truly heartbreaking. In the summer of 30 BC, Octavian's forces surrounded Alexandria. Mark Antony, receiving false reports that Cleopatra had died, fell on his own sword in the ancient Roman tradition, but Cleopatra was still alive. When she learned of Antony's death, Cleopatra was brought before Octavian. The Roman leader wanted to parade her through Rome as a prisoner, the ultimate humiliation for the proud Egyptian queen. But Cleopatra had other plans. On August 12, 30 BC, at the age of 39, Cleopatra ended her own life. The most famous account says she allowed a poisonous snake, an asp, to bite her. Other historians suggest she may have used poison. The exact method remains debated, but the result was final. The last pharaoh of Egypt was dead. Now here's something absolutely fascinating. According to the Roman historian Plutarch, Octavian, despite being her enemy, granted Cleopatra her final wish. She was buried alongside Mark Antony, in a tomb befitting her royal status. The mummification process was performed according to ancient Egyptian traditions, preserving their bodies for eternity. But here's the mystery that has haunted archaeologists ever since. Where exactly is this tomb? For 2,000 years, this question has remained unanswered. Countless expeditions have searched, numerous theories have been proposed, but Cleopatra's final resting place has remained hidden as if guarded by the ancient gods themselves. Fast forward to our modern era, fellow explorers. The search for Cleopatra's tomb has become one of archaeology's greatest quests. For many years, the renowned Egyptian archaeologist Zahi Hawass believed Cleopatra's tomb was located beneath the Temple of Taposiris Magna, which translates to the Great Tomb of Osiris. This temple stands about 45 minutes west of Alexandria, overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. The theory makes sense when you understand Egyptian religious beliefs. According to ancient mythology, Osiris was killed and dismembered by his brother, but his wife Isis used magic to resurrect him. Cleopatra saw herself as the living incarnation of Isis. If she wanted to ensure her eternal resurrection alongside Mark Antony, what better place than a temple dedicated to Isis and Osiris? But here's where our story takes a dramatic twist. Enter Dr. Kathleen Martinez, and what an incredible character she is. Martinez wasn't born an archaeologist, she was a successful criminal lawyer in the Dominican Republic, but she had been obsessed with Cleopatra since childhood. In a recent interview with National Geographic, Martinez explained her fascination. She threatened Rome, and Romans were afraid of her. She believed she could rule the world, despite the fact that she was a woman. She was a fighter, and she accomplished the unthinkable. This is why she is my heroine, and I will go to any length to discover her grave. In 2005, Martinez did something extraordinary. She approached Zahi Hawass with her theory about Taposiris Magna. Despite having no formal archaeological training, her arguments were so compelling that Hawass granted her permission to excavate, and what Martinez discovered next would astound the archaeological world. Since 2009, Dr. Martinez has been systematically excavating the Temple of Taposiris Magna using cutting-edge technology, ground-penetrating radar, satellite photography, LiDAR scanning, and remote sensing equipment. The discoveries have been absolutely staggering. Let me walk you through what Martinez and her team have found. First, they discovered multiple mummies buried near the temple. One of these mummies had something extraordinary, a golden tongue. This wasn't just decorative. In ancient Egyptian burial practices, a golden tongue was placed in the mouth of the deceased to allow them to speak to Osiris in the afterlife. Could this be someone closely connected to Cleopatra's court? Next, they found figurines of the goddess Isis. Dozens of them. This reinforces the theory that this temple held special significance for Cleopatra, who identified herself with Isis. But here's what really got everyone excited. They discovered coins. Not just any coins. Coins bearing the faces of Cleopatra and Mark Antony. These coins prove that this temple was active and important during Cleopatra's reign. They've also unearthed jewelry, ceramics, and other artifacts from the Ptolemaic period. Each discovery adds another piece to the puzzle, but the most spectacular discovery came in November 2022. Prepare yourselves, ancient mystery hunters, because what I'm about to tell you is absolutely mind-blowing. There's also the question of tourism development. The area around Taposiris Magna is becoming increasingly developed. New construction could potentially damage or cover archaeological remains before they are fully explored. It's a race against time to uncover the secrets hidden beneath the sands. The stakes have never been higher, and the world is watching closely. What will they find next? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the quest for